The auction strikes again. This isn't the good stuff. I had to buy a whole truckload of crap to get to the good stuff, which is in here. And it looks like crap too. That and some other parts here are pieces to a very early 7-horse, I believe, and in rough shape, Stickney. So these things are pretty cool looking, or ugly, to each their own. But I'm going to get the truck unloaded and throw this thing together to give you an idea of what this thing is.
Yeah.
So I bought one of the weirdest looking engines you'll probably ever see. I think I said this was a 7-horse, but it's actually a 6-horse Stickney engine. And this is an early one because of the 10 hopper here. Makes it probably 06, I'm figuring. But yeah, if I didn't mention it, I had to buy like 5 lots of stuff to be able to get all the parts. And I ended up with a bunch of crap that I don't really want. This pallet here and this pallet here is all the stuff that I had to buy to be able to get all the little pieces for this engine. And I still don't have everything. This here is the governor down here, and this is the rocker box for the camshaft right here, and then the rockers for the push rods. Obviously, like I said, governor down there. That was on a lot by itself. This is the factory coil for this thing. That was in a lot by itself. The piston and the crankcase and the flywheels was a lot. This hopper was a lot. This mixer was a lot. The top of the mixer and the gas tank up top there was a lot. This here was inside the crankcase. This is the air inlet. You see it says hot and cold here. That goes there like so. Things I am missing on it still: cylinder head, and there's an igniter that goes right here. But all in all, for as uncommon of an engine this is, it's going to be worth my time to get it running again, that's for sure. So let me show you some of the features and some of the destruction that's on this engine. Let's start off with the nitty-gritty. Why is there holes cut into the water jacket? So I look at this engine online. I bought this from an auction in Indiana. They had pictures of it, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why they cut all these holes. There's one there, there's one there, there's some on the bottom. Both sides have them. After getting to the auction, it was obvious. The inside is some nice booger weld. So I'm assuming inside the cylinder here, that thing cracked, and that was their way of trying to fix this thing. I don't know, I may have tried to gone about it a different way, but maybe that was the best solution. I don't know. But I guess I'm gonna have to figure out if their welding job or brazing job, whatever this is, actually holds, and then go about welding this up, metal stitching, I don't know, putting cast iron back into this. So it's not the end of the world, that's for sure, but yeah, not ideal. Like I said, there's an igniter. It goes right here that is missing. Luckily, there's some guys that remake them. They're really, really funky looking igniters compared to most engines. But I can get one of those, and I can get a cylinder head recast. You know, the great thing about this hobby, at the auction, I was bidding against another guy that wanted this as well. And this hobby, normally there's no enemies, and I ended up being the winning bidder on this. And that gentleman that didn't know me, came up to me and gave me some names of some people that had parts and a head for it to get cast, things that I'm going to need that he already knew. He already had a couple Stickney engines, so he was somewhat connected into the world already of Stickneys, and he was nice enough to give me that information to help me out. So shout out to this hobby and the nice guys that are in it. He didn't have to do that, obviously. He could have had hard feelings that I bought it, and he didn't, but he wanted to see the engine get running as much as I do, so I'd like to thank him for that. So on to some other stuff here. Like I said, need a cylinder head. There's the inside of the cylinder. The head goes there, obviously. And then up here is the carburetor or mixer. This here is the intake valve right there. Missing a spring off of it. Like I said, I'm not all that familiar with these Stickneys. So I don't know. I may be missing some stuff in there as well. Probably am. Gas tank up here. The top of it's 8 out, but there would have been a line that came down here in front of the hopper down to this valve, put gas into here, and then obviously it would suck it up into the cylinder and it would fire. This early engine has the option where there could be a hot tube for ignition on this thing as well as the igniter on the other side. That would have went right here. They're really neat. I'll probably try to get one. There's some guys that recast those, so put a hot tube on it. That'll be kind of cool. I don't know why this is plugged off. Maybe they was pressure testing their ugly brazing job somehow. I don't know. But That there is the exhaust. Up above it is the cooling tank or the water hopper. It's a galvanized tank. There's 2 passages at the bottom that you've probably seen. Works like every other water hopper on an engine. It's just funky looking. Like I said, gas tank up top. Back here is the exhaust valve, and then there would be a push rod right here, which is actually laying in the crankcase there. This push rod would go to another dog bone here up front to hold that intake valve closed when this thing's running, and then when it fires, it'll let it suck in. But missing that piece, something I can have cast. Not the end of the world there. Flywheel's obviously here. Crankcase. Here's a couple of the push rods. This one here is the igniter push rod, I believe. This one here should be the exhaust, and then the other one, like I said, for the intake, I believe might be that one. This opening right back here is actually where that goes. I just got this off here so you can see the inside of it. Like I said, there's the rockers, the cam, and then the governor down there. It's gear driven off of right there. And then, like I said, this here goes up there. The rockers go into the top of it. And it's neat, it's different. A very, very unusual design of an engine. I mentioned here's the coil. This is the factory ignition coil. Going to have to get rebuilt, but it mounts right up under there. Obviously the piston right there. If you know anything about engines, you know that goes inside of it. I am missing the bearing. That'll be something else I have to make. So, but all in all, a lot of the major stuff's there, and be a good project. That being said, it is going to be a project, so this isn't going to get done every night, and I'm going to take my time with this one to make sure it is done right. So I will do videos on this. Probably not going to be a one-parter, it'll be multiple parts. But yeah, I'm excited to have this thing, and I really wanted to share it. So here is the video of it. Hope you enjoy. And speaking of projects, I've got some other stuff I'm working on. I'm having some issues with my lavalier mic, so the audio sounds weird in this video, a little echoey. I'm just using the mic on my phone. That's probably going to be the next actual engine video. That's I think a 6-horse Fairbanks. I'm in the middle of working on that. And I got this big Patton Brothers economy power that I want to get going. And then obviously some of you guys that might follow me, I posted this being an upcoming video. I'm going to make that a actual working water pump for my holding tank for the well here at the house. I'm going to go and actually completely restore that and actually paint something for once, since it will be sitting outside. But I'm going to make it run and work how it should. There's some more parts for the Fairbanks that's I'm working on over there. And like I said, speaking of projects, this one here is going to be a long-term one. And over here's some projects. Long-term, short-term, some projects waiting on some parts, things like that. At International, I'm waiting on parts for it so I can start putting it back together. I've already got a few things recast, like water pump bracket there, a couple of small things in that box. But waiting on parts on that. That big reed there, I'm gonna have to pour new bearings. They're pretty bad. Usually cranks don't do that, in case you didn't know. Like get that one running here sometime. That's a Australian engine. I've had that thing for like 10 or 12 years and never heard it run. And a couple projects up here that I'm waiting on parts for. That 5-horse fluted hopper air motor has the wrong head on it, and finding a head for that, an original head for that, is about as rare as hen's teeth. So I was able to borrow one and have one drawn up in CAD and 3D printed. So I'm waiting to pick that up at the June Cool Springs show. And then right below it is a 5-horse Samson, same deal, waiting on June Cool Springs, the runner, come around and get some parts back from it, like the igniter and a few other things. Once I get all that stuff, I'm gonna work on them. And then pretty much everything here is a project. So if you like what I do, I have no shortage of things to work on. So subscribe if you want to see this type of stuff, and I'll continue making videos, and maybe one of these days all this stuff will run.